Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I have the good fortune to be interviewing Brent Keltner, president and founder of Winalytics and author of the Revenue Acceleration Playbook. Brent, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here, Seth.
Glad to have you. Let's go back in time a little bit. How'd you get started in the business?
I was a revenue leader it started as life as an academic and was good at selling and didn't necessarily hit my own revenue goals in academics. So I went to work for Kaplan in their higher education group. I had 4 very successful growth outcomes as a revenue leader and decided I could do it for others. So I led both marketing and sales teams and in some roles, marketing, sales, and account management.
Well, congratulations on that journey. I'm sure the longer version, if it isn't in the book, should be in the next one. So what did you see other than the, hey, I can do this? What did you see teams and companies in the industry doing that you thought wasn't working or that you could do better?
Yeah, in a nutshell, most teams are focused on, it's all about me. It's about my product, my expertise, my company, and buyers could care less. So just honestly showing up, and I had been a qualitative researcher trying to get the attention of busy business executives, and they could care less about Rand or my expertise. But if I'd always start with what's in it for them, why participate, what we could do next, the peer learnings, you'd get much higher engagement. So I got good at training marketing and sales teams to always start with, we call it a journey first approach. Where's the buyer in their journey and how do you meet them? I started out doing more work on the sales side. The most recent book is about journey first marketing. If I were to push your audience in one direction, the marketers in your audience in one direction, marketing is still way too hung up on buyer personas. And it's a big gap because personas don't buy, buying committees buy, accounts buy. And so whether you're working on digital strategy, you're working on content strategy, you're working on demand gen strategies, you got to multi-thread from the outset. Your website has to show your buying committee, and most don't.
That makes a lot of sense. You also talk about buyer goals first, product second. What is the simplest way to explain a value pathway to a team or an entrepreneur stuck in, features and benefits selling?
Yeah, what's the outcome that your buyer cares about? Is it more revenue, reduce costs? Is it optimizing a process? You can do it with less staff. You can, improve the productivity of your physical plant or your staff. Is it a better user experience? So there's conversions through whatever your funnel is. Is that a recruitment funnel or a sales funnel or an employee onboarding funnel? It's really all about going from your product feature. Great, you got to sell product features. They have to be differentiated. They have to integrate. But then what is the outcome? And ideally, what is the measurable outcome that makes an investment of time and effort worthwhile? And so we think of a value prop as there's really 3 things you need to tie together. The product value, there are users that are going to care. The business value, somebody's got to be willing to write you a check. And then the enterprise value is anything you try and do different, is connected to a bunch of existing software and processes. So how do you fit with those? How do
That
you make those better? And so in building your buying committee, you got to think about, it's your job to connect those people around what you're doing.
That makes a lot of sense. What is the biggest misconception people have these days about what you call value-based selling?
I think it's that your product doesn't matter. And your product does matter, right? I mean, your product matters a lot. It's what you're selling, your product or service. So ultimately, you need to talk about it. You need to talk about how great it is, and what problems it solves. But usually you get above a $3,000 to $5,000 price point, somebody who may not join the conversation is going to have to be sold as well. And honestly, they don't live with the features and benefits. They could care less. So your product matters a lot for one constituency, but it's like, how do you help them sell it to people that manage related processes and budgets? So that's I think that's the number one thing. And then the second thing I would say is honestly, value-based selling methodologies by and large have failed. Right? Buyers, if you ask buyers 70% or 65% or whatever the latest Gartner survey, they don't want to engage with a seller. They want us rep free, and they usually regret that. But why? Well, because they don't think sellers add value. And so if you want to, whether it's in your marketing or selling, focus on discovery. Focus on discovery first, second, and third. What are they trying to accomplish? In a marketing motion, that's about a guided pathway where buyers can learn themselves, self-educate, self-solution. What kind of checklists are you giving them? What kind of diagnostics are you giving them? What kind of peer learning opportunities are you giving them? SME, learning from subject matter experts, because I don't want to talk to a salesperson until they're fairly convinced there's something of value. So you have to build your content and buyer journey so they can self-educate, self-solution on their terms. And then you got to build your sales conversations to just really spend a lot of time understanding what they're trying to solve for and what the win would be for them to solve that. How are the other people that they're going to have to align with on doing this? What's the win for those other people? So micro discoveries across your buying committee. I mean, that's like 80% of selling should be discovery with different personas. So you are building the coalition of support, and that's not how people think about it. They discovery is one thing we do, and then they just pitch and pitch and pitch and price with a discount to get you to move by the end of the month. And so value-based selling really should be value-based discovery.
I love that. Who is an ideal client for Winalytics?
Yeah, we are in the kind of growth SMB, 20 to 250 million in mid-market. We have more enterprise engagements, but an ideal client would be some executive that has some purview over marketing and sales, and they really want to put the buyer journey first.
And how does Winalytics work? What are you doing for them that is helping them move the needle?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we do, and we have started to get into AI, and we're working on AI agents. For us, we have built a analog brain for years, right? That all of your market facing teams should be working from the same brain. We call it a value prop playbook, but it's the idea that everybody should be going to market with the same ICP segments, the same personas, and the same messaging, ideally a sense of content. Then you can start to, in a snappable way, what's my revenue problem? Is it about lead conversion from the website? Is it demand gen? Is it that I get people to meetings, but my sellers show up and throw up, the buyers are more educated than they are? Is it I don't penetrate my accounts well enough? If you build that value prop playbook, that brain, which we'll do with teams in 30 to 45 days, and you test it or 60, now you can snap it into what's the number one revenue problem I solve. We have started to work with a platform that helps us to build that brain into AI agents. And that is the future, right? Is going beyond just AI prompts to AI prompts that are connected, so you can get into orchestration, right? Connected workflows that are powered by a brain. But you got to get a brain, analog or digital, otherwise you confuse your buyers all the time.
That makes a lot of sense. You've helped so many businesses grow What's the biggest challenge you're facing now?
I mean, look, for everybody out there, it's getting new buyers' attentions, right? I mean, people are just overwhelmed. Um, and so we're eating our own, sipping our own champagne. My colleague Kevin Holland would always correct me when I go down a dog food roadmap. We are doing more ebooks within each of our target verticals, inviting people into targeted conversations about what's happening in K-12 or HR tech or health tech. You really have to create those learning opportunities, lead with thought leadership, to break through the noise, because it's very hard to get people to respond to an email, get people to respond to a call. So I think demand gen is the challenge in front of most businesses for sure.
Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I love it when teams click, right? Because this is a team-based sport. Even selling, good selling now is a team-based sport. I was an athlete in a number of ways. Rugby was my favorite sport for a variety of reasons, but there was when 15 guys were on a field playing together, and it's just click, 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 second play, third play, fourth breakdown. I just love that feeling of team synchronization and winning together. And so we always now qualify to the leadership. Do they have that mindset? Are they going to make it a priority that it's about your buyer first, but then we build a lot of barriers internally, right? Marketing to sales or SDRs to sales. If they don't have that agile mindset that we win together and we learn together, we don't even work with them, because it's just going to be it's going to be painful. So for me, that's what I love, when teams just start clicking on that. This is what the buyers want. This is the messaging by persona that landed. This is the content that lit them up. And you can see other team members writing notes and saying, yeah, I'm going to use that talk track. I'm going to use that question. I'm going to, we're doing some more work with product marketing teams. I love your template for a 2-page industry primer that makes my sales team smarter. I'm going to repurpose that. So how do we win together? That's what gets me fired up.
I love it. And tell what inspired you to write the book, and tell us a little bit about the book.
So the Revenue Acceleration Playbook was my first book. I have written a second, and there'll be a third and a fourth, for this reason, that I had been a revenue leader. I wanted to just write down the methodology that made me successful. We've talked about a lot of elements with it, but I wrote a book that was for 3 audiences: it's for marketing, sales, and the general managers over them. And so now these next books, same methodology, but how specifically do you apply this method in marketing? How specifically do you apply it in sales? And then if you are a leader over those teams, how do you get it to work? So I wrote it because it was just a way of me putting down. I learn by writing. I take copious notes when I'm on the phone with people. And so it was a way of me fully fleshing out the methodology, also getting this out to more like-minded revenue leaders. The other thing that really fires me up is finding like-minded revenue leaders and just having a call or comparing notes. I mean, our brains are wired to be selfish and self-serving, right? Not saying any truth nobody doesn't know. But if you build habits and practices to flip the switch for yourself, it's not about me, it's about you, both my buyer and my internal team member. Everybody wins faster. And so when I meet those people, it's great. Writing the book helps you find those people quicker.
Amen to that. Well, we greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. For our folks watching or listening, tell them a little bit more. Where can they go to learn more about Winalytics, and where can they go to get the Revenue Acceleration Playbook?
Yeah, so the book is on Amazon. I mean, you can order it directly. You can either order there are three things. You can order the book, a print copy, an audio copy, or the digital copy. They can, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Brent Keltner on LinkedIn. They're not going to have a trouble finding me. And I accept all requests. I'm not, I accept all requests. And they can also just email me at bkeltner@winalytics.com. People ask me for help. They ask for an intro call. I always say yes. Never know what I'm going to learn. I'll always find time, even if it has to go out a few weeks. So any of those, welcome follow-on conversations to this podcast for sure.
All right. Well, this has been Seth Greene with Brent Keltner from Winalytics. Brent, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise. Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.